What's good with it, BlakGooseTV family? As always, man, come up with a double salute, man. Nothing but blessings, man. Fuck stress. We trying to stay blessed, man. Hey, look, I got some motherfucking fluence boxing news for y'all, man. We finna be talking about. We finna be getting right up into it, and it has to do with Keith Thurman. It has to do with Conor Benn, and it has to do with Eddie Hearn. So you already know, we got some messy shit to talk about. So let's go ahead and get up into this goddamn thing now. Everyone has been wondering, and maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit saying everyone's been wondering all that good stuff, because maybe everyone hasn't been wondering, but at least me personally, being a Keith Thurman fan for I don't know how the fuck long, you know what I'm saying? And if I really try to break it down and tell you how long I've been a Keith Thurman fan, it's gonna make me feel old. So I'm gonna just stay away from that. But with that being the case, Keith Thurman is in a position right now where I feel like he hasn't been in his entire career. And what I mean by that, it's not disrespecting his career, because he's definitely been in some very powerful positions in his career. He's been a top guy at 147. He's been known as probably the best man at 147 for a couple of years of his career. So he's definitely a Hall of Famer at, you know what I'm saying, at the very least, right? You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by this being a very different time in his career is that he's had a resurrection, right? He was on some Easter shit, right? And I'm not talking about Robert Easter Jr. I'm talking about Easter, Jesus Christ, you know what I'm saying? Resurrection, you know what I'm saying? My bad. Am I being blasphemous? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be blasphemous to all y'all. But look, he was gone and he came back. And when he was gone, no one expected him to come back. And when he was gone, no one expected him to come back and look better than what he did when he was gone, especially after the Manny Pacquiao fight. And that's basically what we've been seeing from Keith Thurman. He still looks great, man. He still looks great. He's in great shape. He's done some amazing things since he's been back from that crazy injuries that he's been dealing with. He was out of the sport probably 2 to 3 years. Probably lost his prime. Some people would say, but boxing is a very peculiar type of sport, where it's like your prime isn't necessarily predicated on your age, but it's mostly predicated on the amount of damage you've taken and how long you've actually been in the sport. So what I mean by that translation is, the longer you've been in the sport, the more damage you've taken. Your prime could be a lot earlier than what people expect. You know what I'm saying? Your prime could end at 28, 29 because you took so much goddamn damage. You don't got shit left to you in your 30s. While if you start later in life, don't have as many fights, don't take as much damage, your prime could be, 33, 34, 35. We see that with Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence, and even these guys. They didn't necessarily start later, which Earl Spence did, to most boxing, because he started at 16. But to them, they didn't necessarily start later, but their stylistic type of fighting is they didn't take a lot of damage. So primes in boxing is different than like basketball, football, and all you guys know that because we're all boxing heads. But you can have one person who's having his prime in boxing at 34, 35 years old, and another person who has his prime in boxing at 26, 27, 28 years old. So that's just the case, period. But with that being said, a lot of people did not expect Keith Thurman to come back after that long layoff and basically look almost as good or not better than when he was in his supposed prime, right? And so right now, Keith Thurman is in such an interesting position when it comes to the boxing world, period, because he's with PBC. He's a 147. He's a Hall of Famer. And it doesn't make sense for him to not fight anyone other than a big name opponent, right? Earl Spence is off the table because they're trying to make Earl Spence for Terrence Crawford. If that actually happens, who knows? There's a lot of, back and forth with that, a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, allegedly, when it comes to that, who they actually make happen. And then Earl Spence has already kind of expressed that he doesn't want to fight Keith Thurman. And I understand that because it's kind of like a get back, because when Earl Spence was on his way up and he went to fight Keith, Keith was like, you need to earn it. So Earl's kind of giving him the same, treatment. Like, yo, why should I fight you? You just came back. You ain't really beat nobody other than Barrios. Why should I give a fuck? Barrios and Lopez. So why should I give a fuck? So it's like, I'm not mad at it. It makes sense. Pettiness will always, match pettiness energy. And a lot of times the greats, niggas who really believe in themselves, they got some crazy petty energy, and it makes sense because it helps with competitiveness. But, Keith Thurman's in a weird position right now. Like, Keith has already made it known. He's like, I would love to fight Ugas. And remember too, guys, I dropped a video, I want to say maybe about a month ago, where Keith Thurman basically expressed interest in wanting to fight around August, September, October. But he said, yo, I don't have a match. I'm getting back in the ring. I'm getting back into the gym. I'm getting back in shape. I would love to fight Ugas. That's the guy I want to fight. But it doesn't seem like that's probably a possibility. So I'm just going to get back in the gym, train, and just wait and see what PBC offers me. And I'll take, what makes the most sense to me. So long story short, I do believe Eddie Hearn wants a Conor Benn versus Keith Thurman fight, but I don't think it'll happen because we're talking about cross promotional things. What benefit does PBC? Because PBC has to look at it from this position. Oh, I love this fight, but What benefit do we get from this? If Keith Thurman fights Conor Benn, we're not going to get an uptick in ticket sales. We're not going to get an uptick in viewership. We're not going to get an uptick in merchandise sold. It's going to be the same as Keith Thurman fighting a guy on PBC that we know about, but we really don't know about. Let's be 100. Because only people in the UK know about Conor Benn. The US don't really follow Conor Benn like that. I know who Conor Benn is. BlakGooseTV family, y'all probably know who he is, but Conor Benn will not move the needle for Keith Thurman. And fuck Keith Thurman, it won't move the needle for PBC. PBC is like, why would we take this fight? But you see, Eddie Hearn added a very interesting stipulation. They have the money. So he understands that PBC is like, you know, we can make just as much money having Keith Thurman against. We'll make more money, way more money, if Keith Thurman fought Ugas, and we can make just as much money pairing up Keith Thurman with someone else in PBC who may not have as big a name as Conor Benn over in the UK, but the US is going to watch, and they're going to watch strictly for Keith Thurman fighting this guy, and we're going to make just as much money. So why should we make Conor Benn versus Keith Thurman when it's a high risk, low reward type thing? We're not saying Keith Thurman's going to lose to Benn, but if he does lose to Benn, what the fuck do we have? All we're going to have left is Earl. You feel me? So they're trying to hold on to that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Eddie Hearn is making a point saying we have the money, because he understands that in order for this to happen, he's going to have to put down a lot of bread, because he's going to make up for that risk. Being a lot higher than the reward. So let's go ahead and let's get into this nitty gritty. By the way, if y'all got this, you know what I'm saying? If y'all got this far into the video, man, y'all might as well go ahead and hit the comment section. Y'all might as well go ahead and hit the like button. Y'all might as well subscribe to the channel. Y'all might as well notification game, all that good stuff where y'all can engage and know whenever I'm dropping content, know whenever, you know what I'm saying, I'm putting something out there and y'all want to be a part of it. Just make sure y'all hit them buttons, man. It's all free. It's all love, man. Stop playing your boy. Stop coming up in here watching this joint, not being a part of family. It don't make no sense, man. Come on, man. We working too hard. We putting out too much content for y'all to just be leisurely being like, I'm finna just watch this shit, but I'm not gonna support. We're a small boxing YouTube channel. Them clicks mean everything, y'all. It means everything. So please hit them joints, man. It's free. Don't do nothing to y'all other than, you know what I'm saying, taking away 1 to 2 seconds of your life. You feel me? And that ain't shit. So let's get into this article. Keith Thurman versus Conor Benn possible. Eddie Hearn says they have the money. All right, we're gonna go straight into the motherfucking quotes, because you know that's what I'm always on. I don't want to hear straight from the horse's mouth. We want the Keith Thurman fight. I had a million questions here today about Conor Benn against Chris Eubank Jr. We're not in the final negotiations about that fight, said Eddie Hearn to pro boxing fans. It's a fight that always gets brought up because it's one of the biggest fights of all time. Right now, we're focused on the welterweight division for Benn, and hopefully that'll be Keith Thurman. Former IBO super middleweight champion Chris Eubank Jr. would be an excellent fight for Benn in the UK, but it's too big of a punch for him to take in that level of opponent. Thurman can punch too, but he doesn't possess the type of power that Eubank Jr. does. I disagree. When's the last time Eubank Jr.'s... I'm not even gonna get in there. That's crazy. If you Keith Thurman has anyways, because we're talking about two different weight classes. Chris Eubank Jr. is a bigger guy, but he's not a bigger puncher than Thurman. You fucking crazy. And by the way, my personal opinion, we'll see Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn before we'll see Conor Benn versus Keith Thurman. Only way I even see Keith Thurman versus Conor Benn happening, there's got to be a substantial amount of money laid down, or at the very least, Keith Thurman has to literally be out of options. He has to have nobody on the table that he can fight that makes sense, especially on the PBC side of the game. So Eddie Hearn went on to say he's a big star, Conor Benn. We've got the money to make sure that we do that. So we'll see what ends up happening. So he definitely, like, what I take from that, he's going to send an offer. He's going to try to make it, you know what I'm saying, come into, you know, into reality when it comes to Keith Thurman versus Conor Benn. But me personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it makes no sense for the PB side of the game. I think it makes no sense for Keith Thurman, unfortunately. It makes all the sense for Conor Benn. Conor Benn's in a weird position because, like, I see Conor Benn similar to where I saw Tevin Farmer and Demetrius Andrade was with Eddie Hearn when Eddie Hearn first signed them, and he was trying to break into the U.S. market, where he had one of the better middleweights, and then he had one of the better 135ers at the time, 130s. But because he didn't have no love or respect or reputation in the U.S., he couldn't get the big U.S. fights with the U.S. promotions, and ultimately wasted away their prime careers. I see that happening with Conor Benn. I just don't see anybody. Like, he's a great 147er. I would love to see what potential he has, but why would PBC, Top Rank, Golden Boy Promotions risk any of their young 147s coming up against Conor Benn? It won't make any money in the States, so it doesn't make any sense. Y'all understand where I'm coming from? Hopefully y'all do. And if y'all don't, you know what I'm saying, drop it in the comments below, and hopefully I can explain to y'all in the comments, man, on a Fluence Friday. But I just wanted to put that out there, man. Let me know what y'all think about that. As always, man, I want to hear you guys' opinion. Drop it in the comments below. like the video, subscribe to the channel. Much love to the people as always on Sports Nigga Side of the Game. I'll be back, but we're gonna change it up with more boxing. Like